Hey, it's okay. You don't need to know anything yet. That's why I'm here. You said this is your first time playing? That's perfect. First sessions are my favorite. There's something really special about learning the game for the first time. When everything still feels a little mysterious. We're going to go slowly. No rushing. No big rule dumps, just one small piece at a time. And if you forget something, that's normal, I promise. Okay, let's start with this one. I've got a handful of D20s. They have 20 sides, each side with a number from 1 to 20, and that's it. Nothing complicated. This is the die you'll roll the most whenever you try to do something important. Swing a sword, dodge an attack, convince someone, climb a wall, you roll this one. It's basically the game asking, how well did that go? Low numbers, maybe not your best moment. High numbers, that's when things go really well. And here's the important part. The die isn't judging you, it's just creating uncertainty. Even heroes roll low sometimes. That's part of the story. Go ahead, roll it once just to feel it. Listen to the sound. That's the sound of possibility. Alright, now let's talk about something called AC. That stands for Armor Class. But don't let the name intimidate you. It's simpler than it sounds. See this number right here? That's your AC. It represents how hard you are to hit. That's it. If an enemy attacks you, they roll their d20, they add their bonuses, and if their total meets or beats your AC, they hit. And if they roll lower, they miss. Your character dodges, or the blow glances off armor, or it just doesn't land properly. Higher AC means you're harder to hit. That might come from armor, or dexterity, or magic. But you don't need to memorize all that right now. Just remember, AC is your don't get hit number. That's all. Okay, this part can sound intimidating at first, but I promise it's not. If you're playing a spellcaster, you don't just swing a weapon, you shape magic, but mechanically, it still works with the same simple idea. You declare what spell you're casting and check what it requires, and then usually one of two things happens. Some spells work like weapons. You roll your d20, add your spell attack bonus. If you meet or beat the target's AC, the spell hits, just like a sword would, only flashier. Other spells, however, don't require you to roll at all. Instead, the target rolls a saving throw. They're trying to resist your magic. On your sheet, you'll see something called your spell save DC. That's the number they're trying to beat. If they roll lower than your DC, your spell works fully. If they roll higher, they resist, partially or completely. And that's it. No secret math, no hidden trick. Just roll, add, compare numbers, tell the story. See, you already understand the core of the game. Roll a d20, add a number, see what happens. Everything else is just flavor, and we'll take that one layer at a time. You're doing perfectly so far. Really, let's keep going, but slowly. You're doing really well. I know it can feel like there's a lot of information, but notice something? You already understand the core mechanic. Roll, add, compare. That's the heartbeat of the game. Now let's just add a few more pieces around it. Gently. This page in front of you, it might look busy. Boxes, numbers, little circles. But it's not a test. It's just a snapshot of who your character is. Let's break it into small pieces. Your ability scores. See these 6 numbers? Strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma. You don't have to memorize them yet. Think of them as different kinds of talent. Strength is physical power, dexterity is agility and coordination, constitution is toughness, intelligence is learned knowledge, wisdom is awareness and instinct, charisma is presence and personality. Whenever you try something, the game decides which ability fits, and then you roll your d20 and add the modifier next to that ability. You don't add the big number, you add the smaller one beside it. That's the modifier. It's already calculated for you, so you don't have to think about it. See this column of skills? Acrobatics, perception, stealth, persuasion. These are just more specific applications of these abilities. If you want to sneak, that's stealth. If you want to notice something hidden, perception. If you're trying to convince someone, persuasion. You roll your d20, add the skill bonus, and we see what happens. And that's it. There's no wrong move. Even a failed roll just changes the story. It doesn't mean you did something bad. It just means something unexpected happened. Combat can look chaotic from the outside, but it's actually very structured, which makes it easier. First, everyone rolls initiative. That's just a d20 plus your dexterity modifier. It decides turn order. Highest goes first. Then we go around in a circle, one at a time. No overlapping, no chaos. When it's your turn, you can usually move, take an action, maybe a bonus action, and possibly a reaction later. That sounds like a lot, but most turns feel simple. You might just say, I move here and attack. Roll the d20, add your attack bonus, roll damage if you hit. Done. That's your turn. No pressure to be flashy. Simple is good. Attack rolls versus damage rolls. This is a common confusion point, so let's slow it down. When you attack, you roll the d20 first. That's to see if you hit. That's your attack roll. If that number is high enough to beat the target's AC, then you roll damage. Damage uses different dice, not the d20. It might be a d8 or a d6 or something else. That die determines how hard you hit. 2 separate rolls, one to hit, one for impact. Nice and clean. Now, spell slots. This is the part that makes new players nervous, so let's demystify it. See this little tab? Those are your spell slots. They are not spells, they are energy. Think of them like batteries. Each time you cast a leveled spell, you spend 1 battery. When you run out, you can't cast more of that level until you rest. That's it. You don't lose the spell forever. You're not punished. You're just out of energy for now. Cantrips, the small spells, don't use spell slots. You can cast those all day, so you're never useless. Ever. Take a breath. Notice how much you already understand. D20, AC, ability modifiers, attack versus damage, spell slots. That's most of the game. The rest is storytelling, and you already know how to tell stories. We'll keep going, slowly. So we're almost done. But before we finish, I want to talk about something more important than rules, because this is the part no one explains clearly enough. You cannot play this game wrong, not if you're trying, not if you're participating, not if you're being present. There is no good at D&D test you have to pass. There's just showing up and making choices. The most common fear is, what if I don't know what to do? You'll look at me and say, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and I'll say, what does your character want to try? That's it. You don't need to think about mechanics first. You think about intention. Do you want to protect someone, learn something, impress someone, hide, explore? Tell me that. I'll tell you what to roll. You don't carry the rules alone. That's not your job, especially not on your first game. Now, role-playing doesn't mean you need a voice, or an accent, or dramatic speeches. If you want to do that someday, wonderful. But you don't have to. You can simply say, my character asks if the guard will let us pass. You don't have to act it out, unless you want to. The game doesn't reward performance, it rewards participation, and even quiet players matter. Sometimes the quiet ones notice the most. Let's talk about low rolls, because they will happen. You'll roll a 2, or a 3, maybe even a 1. That doesn't mean you're bad at the game, doesn't mean you made a mistake. It means something interesting happens. Maybe you trip, maybe you misjudge someone, maybe you accidentally make things more complicated. Complicated stories are fun. Perfection is boring. The best campaign stories usually start with someone rolling terribly and everybody laughing. It's important to remember that you're not alone at the table. This isn't a solo test. It's collaborative. Other players will help. I will guide you. If you forget a rule, we'll look it up. If you misunderstand something, we'll clarify. There's no buzzer that goes off. No scoreboard. Just shared imagination. Let's do a tiny little practice. Okay, just to feel it, you're standing in a quiet tavern. There's a mysterious figure in the corner. You want to see if they're watching you. That's a perception check. So you roll your d20. Now add your perception bonus. Whatever the number is, I'll tell you what happens. High roll. You notice the subtle glint of their eyes under the hood. Low roll. You're distracted by the warmth of the fire and the smell of food. Either way, the story moves. See? That's the rhythm. You try something. Dice decide uncertainty. We narrate the result. That's the whole engine. You're ready. Not because you memorized everything, but because you understand the flow. And because you're willing to try. That's all this game asks of you. Next session, we'll build your character together. Or maybe jump straight into an adventure. And I'll still be right here, patient, explaining things when you need them, quiet when you don't. You're going to do wonderfully, first-time player. Welcome to the table.